Hey, yo, what's up, people? Mike, your mentor here, coming at you for some Tuesday thoughts. Hope that your Tuesday is off to a good start. So it's family movie night for us tonight. I think we're watching, um, what's that pet movie? Doggone it. You would think I just rented it from Redbox. Pets in the City, or I don't know, Pets Part 2. So, anyways, yeah, welcome to the page. Um, I'm glad you could make it. So, there's a multitude of reasons why I started this page, but the main reason is to help men, right, answer the higher calling on their lives as husbands, as fathers, as friends, and as leaders in the community. And forgive me, I might sneeze like 10 times in a row here. That's how I roll. I never sneeze, but when I do, it's pretty furious, and I can feel it coming on. But I'm in my son's room here because they're downstairs starting the movie without me. But I just want to get in and out and talk to you about something really important tonight, um, and that's suicide. And I want to share my brother's experience with you and what happened with him, and then maybe share some stats and how you can help anybody that you know that might be in a bad place, or maybe some of the warning signs you can look for. So, all right. So my brother, he took his life when I was a sophomore in college, and as you can imagine, it was extremely hard, extremely challenging for me and my family. My brother was a high school senior, and it wasn't that he just took his life; it was also the way that he chose to take his life. He took his life in the parking lot of the high school, literally 1 to 2 minutes after everybody went inside to start the day. And he was discovered by a girl who had forgotten her book and went back out to retrieve it. So, why did my brother decide to take his life? This is purely conjecture and me piecing things back together from what we learned afterwards. He did leave a note, but in his note, he didn't say anything about it. Um, he just wished us all well individually and as a family. So, my personal belief is that things in my brother's life compounded extremely fast. So, for the sake of this video and for everybody's time, I'll just say this. So, going into his senior year, he had a really rough summer. The first thing that happened to him was he went to football camp, and they did some hazing of some younger teammates and got in trouble for that. Not good. Then he was driving around with some friends and got pulled over, and they found a pipe in the car. The car belonged to him, so he was the one that was arrested and taken to jail, or taken in for that, whatever that is, whatever misdemeanor or whatever it was at the time. But super embarrassing for him. I don't know if it was embarrassing for our family so much. Like, I think he really just felt like he let my grandpa down, because my grandpa was the one who had to come and kind of deal with the situation. And so then there was that. Then football practice, he breaks his ankle, so he's in a cast. Not really sure if he's going to be able to enjoy his senior year like the way he would want to, right? So he's taking pain pills for that. He ends up getting the cast off earlier than anticipated, and in his first game back, he goes to change directions, and his ankle breaks again because it wasn't ready. And this time, the doctor tells him he'll never play football again in his life. So I can only imagine the weight that he felt from this, and from the cascading disappointments that he was experiencing during the summer. You know, a lot of this is happening was I was off at college, so I didn't know a lot about this going on at the time. So once again, he's got his foot in a cast, his whole leg, and he's given prescription medicine. And this is where things start to maybe reach a tipping point for him. So he's at school, and there's this, I don't want to call it a rule. There's just like this thing. We'll just call it a thing, right? If you know somebody who is in possession of drugs, or is dealing drugs, or is sharing drugs, you can anonymously go down to the office, turn them in, and you'll get a cash reward, like, I don't know, 200, 500 bucks, something like that. It was pretty significant for any high schooler. So somebody he thought was his friend asked him for some of his prescription meds, and my brother, being the person that he was, just didn't think twice and gave it to him, right? And this person then proceeded to go down to the principal's office and turn my brother in, and it was a zero tolerance policy. So immediately he was expelled from school and sent home. And I skipped one thing. So that was kind of the climax, but leading up to that is there was parents' night for the football players, right? And we lived with my grandparents at the time, and I don't know what happened, but all I know is he was the only kid that night that had to walk out on the field by himself without his someone in his family there. And afterwards he told my I think it was my grandma, that was the worst night of his life. So you have all these things happening, right? And then now he's expelled from school, and his vision on life is starting to constrict, right? And he's starting to see out of this little tiny hole, and he can't see everything around him, and the opportunities and the chance to make up for that, and to still do something with his life. And I can't say I would react any different, had all this stuff. Oh, he told you that, Val? Gotcha. I can't say that, I would react any different had, I not been able to play basketball, I've been expelled my senior year, and just wondered, like, okay, I just pissed away my whole life. Like, it's gone. Like, what's next, right? And so he went home, and it was just him and my grandma there. My grandpa was up north at the cabin, and my brother waited for my grandma to go fall asleep. And it's kind of crazy because my grandma told my brother not to do anything drastic, that my grandpa would be home the next day, or maybe it was a Sunday, and they'd figure it out. And my brother promised he wouldn't, and she fell asleep, and he went up to the closet where my grandpa kept a rifle, and took it, got in his car, and he drove to the high school. Now, this is the crazy part, right? I do not think this is coincidence. I think that God does two things every day in our lives. The first thing he tries to do is he asks us the question, do you trust me? And then there's things that happen in our life that give us the opportunity to choose to trust him. Yeah, that was a crazy day, Lindsay. Yeah, it was really crazy with everyone just coming up there. Thank you, though. The second thing that I believe God does is he looks for ways to show you how much he loves you and how much you mean to him. So my brother goes to the school, and when this school was built, was in the middle of two major roads in our city. And at the time, if you wanted to get from one road to another, you would either have to drive all the way around the block, which most people were too lazy to do, myself included, or you drove through the parking lot on the school, which the majority of people chose to do. So my brother was parked there in this thoroughway, and his friend just happened to be coming home and see his car there, and pulled up and was like, hey King, like, what's going on? It's 1 o'clock in the morning, what are you doing out here? And my brother said, I'm good, just thinking something along those lines, I'll be fine. And then drove his car away like a couple of feet. And then his buddy Pulled up again next to him. Are you sure? Are you okay? Doesn't seem like it. Then my brother said, I'm fine. Drove away again. So that process repeated itself a couple of different times until his friend, was like, all right, well, I gotta respect his wishes. He says he's fine. Okay. And he drove off. So I just want to stop here for a second, right? That's what the majority of us would do. It makes perfect sense. We want to respect our friends. We want to honor our friends in their wishes. And hindsight's 20/20. So I'm not saying this to put any blame on anybody. I am just offering all of us, myself included, a suggestion. If you see somebody that you know in your family or your friends or in your community, and you see that they're not acting right, that this is not normal behavior for them, no matter if they say they're fine or not, be the type of friend that's willing to offend them to show how much you love and care for them. You may have to call somebody else. You may have to bring attention to the situation. I pray that God will lead you the right way that you need to go if you're ever put in that situation. But be the type of friend that's willing to offend your fellow brother or sister to help them out, because you just don't know. You could be saving their life. And in hindsight, we'd all want that person to do that for us. I can think of a situation in my own life where I was not myself, and my good friends realized that, and they pulled me aside and said, dude, what the F is wrong with you? You're walking around here like a zombie. You're not your normal laid back funny self. Like, don't do this thing that you're about to do. And I needed that, right? Like, they loved me enough to confront me with that and to tell me the hard truth, and it changed my life at that point. So be that type of friend. So my brother, then after his friend left, he proceeded to drive through the thoroughway and then pull into the parking lot. And at that time, the parking lot, ran perpendicular. Thanks, Tim, man. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Ran perpendicular to the high school, and literally the first spot was right next to the walkway of the high school, and that's where he parked. And he waited there all night. God knows what was going through his mind. I really believe that God sent his friend there to try to intervene in his life. We all have free will, and that decision was his. And he sat there through the night, man, through the night, just contemplating. Who knows what he was wrestling with, what was going on in his mind. And the next day, kids reported seeing him in his car and saying, hey, King, come to school, let's go, man. And him being like, oh, yeah, I'll be in there in a little bit. And everyone went inside, and that's when he decided to take his life, which set in to motion a cascade of things. Outreach to me at college, outreach to my sister at college. Someone sent off to find my grandfather, who was up north at his cabin fishing, like in the middle of nowhere, right? Get my mom. This whole plan of action. Counselors to the school, pastors, all that stuff. I think that people who find themselves in that position, because they are it's like looking through a keyhole. They can't see the people around them. They can't see really how much they're loved and the opportunity. I can't imagine, because I've never been in that close of a situation. But the truth is that you are loved. Like, you do have people that care about you. I mean, there was thousands of people at my brother's funeral that were directly and indirectly affected by this. And unfortunately, the statistics show us that it's not getting any better. Suicide rates are rising. I just had a conversation this weekend with someone whose 9-year-old son was going to take their life. 9 years old. Imagine if that was your daughter or your son. And thank God they had the relationship with their mom that they could go to them and tell them what was going on, and they could begin to get help and unpack that. But even, the mom was telling me, like, what do I do? Like, now I'm worried. Now I'm like, is it something I did? All these things that come with that, right? So I just want to end tonight's Tuesday Thoughts with a couple things. One, just another reminder. Like my grandpa always told me growing up, real friends tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So I implore you, be that type of friend. If it's a real friendship and you're putting your butt on the line to offend them, they're going to thank you for it, regardless of how it plays out. And two, stats say 1 in 5 people are affected in some way by society. Whether first degree, second degree, right? 1 in 5. I was asked this today at a meeting, like, what do you do when someone is rocked by suicide? Really, there is no right answer. Just be there for them, however that looks. Maybe you're just there physically for them and you're not saying anything and you're just sitting with them. I remember all the people that sat with me at my brother's funeral, and they didn't have to say anything. They just showed up, right? They just showed support. Maybe that means, you are checking in on that person or that family every couple of days and just saying, yeah, we were never created to do this alone. That's right, Val. And you just check in and you say, hey, how are you doing? Can I help you with anything? Get you some groceries? I don't know, need an oil change on your car? Whatever that looks like. Just love them. We know how to do that, right? Just love them. Whatever God puts on your heart. So, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Two last things, right? If you know somebody who needs help, or maybe even yourself, you need some help, National Suicide Prevention Line, 1-800-273-8255. Or maybe you're not a big talker on the phone and you like to text, 741-741. Reach out, because I promise you, you will be missed. There are people in your life that care about you and love you deeply. And we're humans, and we screw up, and we hurt each other, and we do some stupid shit. But the reality is there isn't a price too big I wouldn't pay to have my brother here with me today. And I know there's people in your life that would think the exact same thing. So I just ask that if you got anything out of this, well, I don't even ask if you got anything out of this. I just need your help. Just share this, okay? That would mean a lot to me, and to anybody else who gets to see this. You'd be surprised, even if it saves one life. So, thank you guys. I love you. If you need anything, hit me up. I'm here for you. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Wednesday Wisdom. Thank you again. Good night.